Good morning and welcome to all of you. This is a webinar, so you can see me, but I can't see you, although you might suspect that I'm wearing shorts, very comfy shorts. So this session today is for anyone who has an interest or a curiosity about mindfulness, whether this interest is new or ongoing. And notice if you have some preconceptions about mindfulness and maybe even some skepticism, just welcome that skepticism. You might be wondering why so many universities, corporations, and even law firms are so abuzz about this practice. So this session is for skeptics too. Notice your curiosity, notice your skepticism, maybe your enthusiasm, and give yourself permission to really be here. You probably have a lot of things to do right now. You could be preparing for a later panel, maybe even working on your syllabus for the fall or doing online training, but maybe give yourself permission to just be here. Maybe it's okay to just be in this moment for now and not reach for the phone just now. My name is Rosie Lozada. I teach at the FIU College of Law, and I'm also training in mindfulness facilitation at the UCLA Mindful Awareness Research Center. I'm also really passionate about well-being in the profession more broadly. I started practicing mindfulness when my second child, my son Lucas, was born 18 years ago, and I was super private about it, almost just nervous to share that I practiced with anybody, and here I am. So that's kind of interesting. In this session, we'll discuss what mindfulness is, what it's not, meaning all the many misconceptions, and we can thank the media for helping or hindering with those misconceptions. Some of the benefits of regular practice as shown by studies and research, and we'll try a short guided practice on the theme of self-care, which many of us in theory think is a good thing, but we have a hard time really making time for. So to start, mindfulness is a way of being aware, a particular way of paying attention. Some consider it even a mental training of sorts, and I'll offer a definition. It's the practice of bringing your attention, to the present moment on purpose, with openness, kindness, curiosity, a willingness to be with whatever arises. The practice has its roots in Buddhist traditions. It was brought to the West as a secular practice, so people of any faith practice or no faith practice or tradition can engage in it and benefit from it. So let's acknowledge that if we're human, we have had experiences of not being aware. So maybe, have you ever gotten into your car and with your destination in mind, maybe you check Waze for a brief moment to see how to get to where you're going, and next thing you know, you're getting out of your car. And you don't really remember the streets you drove on, the cars you passed, the cars that passed you, and yet you got to where you wanted to be. Or maybe you're having a conversation with a student or a colleague or a family member, maybe in your office or on Zoom, and you're really just trying to form your response to the person speaking rather than truly listening to what they're saying. You want to be ready to jump in with your story or your insight or your reaction, and you're not so aware in that moment to what your colleague or family member or your student might be saying. So, mindfulness is really just an ability to bring awareness to that. Common misconceptions: that it is a cure-all, a panacea, a fix-all, that it's a self-improvement project, that you have to be super still, or maybe even on a beach in a perfect sun salutation or a warrior one pose to do it, or that you have to breathe in a particular way and think about your breathing. And if you just join, these are misconceptions, okay? or that you have to blank out your mind and not think at all. Or even that it involves always relaxing. None of these are really true, and yet the media kind of perpetuates this myth. In fact, because it's a quality of attention, you can practice mindfulness and bring it to any activity, any moment in your life. It's also not a cure-all, it's a tool. So I'm sure all of you have tools that help you show up for life in whatever way that you do or you want to, whether it's exercise, nutrition, connecting with people you care about, writing. So this is another tool. This is another tool. It's not for everyone, but you can explore for yourself and see whether this is something that you will remain curious about or skeptical of. So to unpack the definition, the practice, meaning it's something that you do over time, and what you practice grows stronger, right? So if you are a musician, the first time you took a lesson, you didn't walk away being able to play the piano or the guitar or the violin. Same with training for a marathon. You didn't do it in one day. Bring a practice of bringing your attention to the present moment. Although we may not notice it, we're often thinking about the next thing. Even now, you may be wondering, what life will be like after the pandemic. Or you might be thinking about, that you need to go do X, Y, Z. You might be adding to your to-do list for the future. Or you might be remembering something you did or said yesterday that you wish you hadn't, and maybe you're reliving or rehearsing a mistake. So we're often in the future, fantasizing, or in the past, and not very often in the present. So without judgment is the last part of the definition, without judgment, with kindness and curiosity. This might be the most challenging part, because we actually have pretty strong inner critics. Many people in academia, I think we might be experts in this practice of inner criticism. Notice if right now, as you're sitting here, you're judging any part of your experience. And do you really have to? Could you just be open? So something to be aware of, right? Kindness is something we tend to associate with other people, something we do to others, not so commonly something we give ourselves. That seems really radical, right? So perhaps this is something that you can offer yourself. Okay. In terms of the benefits, some of the research shows that people who practice regularly can benefit from improved attention and focus, that they're better able to manage stress, anxiety, which we know so many people are struggling with these days, that they might also experience a greater sense of empathy for others, compassion, including compassion for yourself, and that you're less likely to be controlled by your emotions and impulses or your negative thoughts, that you can be aware of them without letting them dictate your life. Thoughts can be like little dictators telling you, do this, do that, go there, write this, respond to that. I don't know what your thoughts are telling you, but they're probably telling you something, right? So perhaps even most importantly, the benefit is that you cultivate a sense of appreciation for the moments of your life, almost a reverence for each moment of your life. This is what keeps me in the practice. What brought me to mindfulness was, the hope of some of these benefits that we mentioned. But I appreciate that sometimes, not always, I can take a walk and notice what's around me, or I can listen to a student and maybe really listen, or that I can notice what's going on in me and that I don't have to fix it. I don't have to fix everything, right? So how do you find the time? That's a big challenge, right? That we think. And yet you can bring mindfulness to this moment. Like try it now, just notice your in-breath and your out-breath. You can practice it when you're having a hot cup of coffee or when you're in the shower or when a really, really annoying or troublesome communication comes across your phone. You can just notice what that's like. Be aware of it. Now, when you try to practice, right, because some of you may have experience trying to sit or stand or walk with a mindfulness practice, your attention wanders. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. That's just part of it. And then when you notice that you have your attention has wandered, that's the magic moment. That's mindfulness right there. And you can gently, kindly bring it back to the moment. Okay, so let's try a short practice and on the theme of self-care. And so this is a combination of mindfulness and a reflective practice. This word self-care is getting a lot of traction these days, resilience too. So we are very quick to offer advice, take care of yourself, to other people, and yet less willing to do that for ourselves. So this is a practice that will help you explore some of that. Again, give yourself permission to really be here. You can open or close, keep your eyes open or close them, or even just lower your gaze if you like. You can stand or sit or even lie down. Yes, you can lie down. Notice if your body is in a comfortable position. You can bring a softness to your face, a softness to your neck, and feel this breath, just this one breath, in and out. And let's start by bringing to mind the struggles of other people. Many people in our lives are struggling in various ways right now. Think of someone, one person in particular, and bring that person to mind. It could be a student or a colleague, a family member, a neighbor, maybe even someone you saw in the latest news cycle who was in deep distress or even danger. What do you wish for this person? Imagine that that person you're thinking of came to you for support or perhaps advice. What words might you offer? What might your tone of voice be? Your facial expressions, your body language. In all likelihood, you're offering advice that will help that person attend to his or her needs. And my guess is that you spoke in a gentle, maybe even loving tone of voice, that your eyes and your body language communicated care, heartfelt concern. Take a moment to sense your in-breath and your out-breath. And now the invitation is to switch gears for just a moment and call to mind some of your struggles, some of the challenges in your life, present in your life in this moment. Take an inventory of the various struggles with openness and kindness. These may be related to health, work, financial circumstances. Your struggles may be related to fears or frustrations about how others around you are reacting or maybe not reacting to the challenges of our time. And just notice how sensing into those struggles feels for you. We are embodied human beings, often really comfortable in intellectual spaces, less so in our bodies. How does calling to mind your struggles feel in your body? Notice any sensations. Maybe your posture. Maybe your heart rate feels a little bit accelerated. Maybe you feel unsettled or restless. On the other hand, maybe noticing your struggles and naming them feels like a huge relief. And perhaps you feel calmer or more hopeful. It's also possible that you don't really feel anything right now, that you're a little numb. And that's okay, right? You can welcome that as well. Notice whether your mind is judging what you're feeling or experiencing. Notice whether perhaps you're judging the fact that you're judging. Again, pause for an in-breath and an out-breath. And get curious. Get curious about what you might need in this very moment. Maybe you could use a stretch or a shoulder roll. Or maybe it's enough to just be here. There's a Vietnamese monk, Thich Nhat Hanh, who says, we can notice the fact that we don't have a toothache right now and how that feels that we don't have a toothache. So maybe you can focus on one thing that is going right in your life right now. Just one thing. And now say the word to yourself or in your mind, self-care. How does that word or those words, how do they land in your mind, in your body, in your heart? Some of us have notions that self-care is self-indulgent or weak or narcissistic or maybe inefficient, unproductive. Notice that those are just thoughts. They may sound authoritative, but they're just thoughts. We know that many of our thoughts aren't true, right? Have you ever been wrong about something or wrong about someone? Now, if you're comfortable, bring a soft smile or even a half smile to your lips. Take a couple of deep breaths and find some ease resting in your body, in this moment. Perhaps with some gentle awareness about yourself and what you might need. And extend some appreciation to yourself for taking these few minutes or moments to bring awareness into your life. And when you're ready, open your eyes, reconnect with what's around you, and know that you can carry this with you. Thank you for taking this time. If you want to share a word or two in the chat of what this experience was like for you, you're welcome to do that. I hope you have a beautiful day and that you carry your breath with you, this awareness. Thank you.